New Ram 1500 Tint must have. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Rob Motive FST. If you're new here, this is the channel where we talk about full-size trucks. And please consider smashing that subscribe button real quick. So, I have something exciting today, something that always excites me, and that is window tint on my new Ram 1500. Now, this to me is a must-have mod for many reasons. One, it's easier to see. Two, it keeps the truck nice and cool. And three, it kind of protects everything on the inside from the damaging sun rays, at least any that might come in on the sides. So we're going to take a look at the truck. I took it in this morning, just got back minutes ago. And I'm going to show you what I've done. First of all, though, we're going to go over the specifics, the particulars. I have the sheet here detailing what I had done to the truck, so I want to run through that with you guys real quick. Now, if you happen to be in the area, and I'm in South Texas, in the Harlingen, Texas area, D-Tronics is the place to go. This is probably the, I don't know, fourth, fifth, maybe sixth vehicle I've had done there. They do a fantastic job. I was in and out of there this morning in less than an hour. Best day to go, by the way, Tuesday mornings just after they open. And I mean minutes after they open. I always get in right away and get out real quick when I go on Tuesday mornings. So anyway, what did I do? Well, first of all, what do I have? I have a 2022 Ram 1500. It's the Bighorn / Lone Star trim level, I guess. The truck is all in black. You'll see it all in just a minute. Now, what I did, took it in and had them put tint on just the front two windows. Because of course, trucks come with tint from the factory on the rear windows, back and around to the rear. So there's no reason to tint the whole thing unless you really want to go crazy with the darkness of the tint that you're going with. Now, one other thing I want to mention is the type of tint. You know, you can go from the cheapest, which is like, I think 70 or 80 bucks there, something like that, on up to the most expensive, which will cost you probably a couple of hundred, maybe a hair more. I always go middle of the road. I went with a 3M tint, non-ceramic, because it's always worked well for me. It's a little bit thinner, and I'm always leery about putting something too thick on the window because I don't want it to rub the seal. I mean, it's going to rub a little bit anyway, but the less pressure, the better. Then when you get things trapped on that seal, like little dirt granules and stuff, it's not going to scratch your tint. So anyway, I went with just the middle of the road 3M type tint. Now, it has a it has a lifetime warranty, which is something I really like. That's, of course, assuming you don't do something crazy like scrape it with a razor blade or pick at it with your fingers. You have to treat it right. While we're talking about that, proper care for window tint. Don't use any kind of cleaner that's abrasive, first of all, or has ammonia in it. Ammonia over time will break down the film that they use in the tint. So make sure you use an ammonia-free type cleaner. Now, all I do, I take a spray bottle. It's my little concoction. I use it for everything. I fill it up with water, and then I put about 6, 7, 8 drops of non-ammonia containing dishwashing soap. That's it. Shake it up. I use it to clean everything. It's not caustic. It won't damage your tint. So, what was the cost? Everybody wants to know the cost, and I don't blame you. I do too. In my area, here in South Texas, front two windows, $135. I went with a 20% tint. Now, that's not legal. I think legal here in South Texas is 36, 35, something like that, but it's definitely not 20%. Now, they do have you sign a waiver. Typically, it's separate, but now it seems D-Tronics has incorporated that into the one signature that you give, which I like. And that states that they are not liable for any fines or citations due to the choice of tint percentage. Now, you can tint the rears anything you want. You can go with limo tint if you want to, but I'll caution you, if you do that, it's very difficult to see at night. I find it cuts down on nighttime visibility just doing the 20% that I did. It's not horrible for me, but if you have nighttime sensitive eyes, you want to make sure that you go with something that is not going to diminish your ability to drive the vehicle, obviously. So those are the details. That's what I've done as far as the tint on my new truck. Now, I want to take a quick look. We're going to go out and look at it here in just a second, but let's take a quick look on the way at my other vehicles. Two of them I've done at 20%, and then the wife's Wrangler, I believe, is around 32%, something like that. Okay, let's start with the Tacoma. The Tacoma has 20% in the front, and then it's just stock in the back. So it came from the factory the way that you see it now. And you can see it's a pretty good match, but I will point out that the front is slightly darker, especially in bright light, than it is in the back. Now, it's not something that's really noticeable as far as I'm concerned, but a word of caution, it is a little bit different. And that's another thing I want to point out, is that you're probably not going to get the same darkness, if you will, because they don't ever quite match up with what the factory uses. It'll be close, but not perfect. Now, let's take a look at the wife's Jeep Wrangler. This is running about, like I said, 32, 34%, something like that. We tried to match it up with the tinted plastic windows in the back, and it's pretty darn close, but I will say, and I'm not sure if you can tell given the reflections that we have, but it is a little bit darker in the back than it is in the front, but it's as close as we could get, trying to stay as close to legal as we could without going darker in the front. Now, let's take a look at the Jeep Gladiator on the way out. This is at 20% as well in the front. And you can see it's probably a hair lighter in the front. If you look real close, I can kind of see through the front a little bit better than I can the back, but I can still see through all of the windows. Now, let's go to what we're talking about here. And of course, it is the Ram 1500. We'll take a look in the back. You can see what it's like looking through the back out of the front. Obviously, you can see out of the front window. Not a big deal there. Moving along to the sides, this is what it looks like now with the tint done. It's pretty darn close. It really depends on what angle you look at the truck at. When I look at it dead on, like I think I am right now, with the sun reflecting in that centerpiece as opposed to either window like that, you can see when I go side to side, trying to put the sun right in the middle, it looks pretty darn close to me. Oh, there's the doggy over there. It looks pretty darn close to me, which is a pretty good match, I think. Now, let's take a look in the front. You can see, of course, you can still see through the front window, so it's not blocking out all the light so that it's pitch black inside the truck. And speaking of inside the truck, let's jump in real quick and we'll take a look and see what the light is like inside the truck. Obviously, with a bright blue sunny sky day. Okay, we're inside the truck now, and hopefully it cuts down a little bit on Cujo's voice over there. He's still standing there barking at me. Fortunately, he's behind a fence for now. I'll tell you a quick story before we continue on. I was actually outside with a cable guy. We were putting different internet in the house, and I turned around, and that dog was outside of the fence about 15 feet or so away from me, barking like he was right there. Scared the stuff out of me. And of course I ran. Now the cable guy, he was smart, kept his back to the dog, didn't go anywhere, and it was all good. I ran. Worst thing you could do. That kind of kicks in the natural instincts of the dog, and you worry about him chasing you. Fortunately for me, he didn't. I called the neighbor. He came over, got his dog, and all was good. So back inside the truck, you can see, looking out of the windows right now, try to get you both. This one's a little dirty and a little foggy right now because I just had the windows tinted, but it's a pretty good match. If you look at the two windows there, you don't notice a huge difference. And then real quick, I'll open the door. You can see looking in right now what the sun is like with the door closed. There's what it's like with the door open. So that'll give you an idea of how much tint I have here now as compared to what it looks like just outside. It's a heck of a lot different as to how it compares in my eyes than it is without having the tint on there. I noticed that the other day. I drove somewhere and I did not have the tint done yet, and man, it was driving me nuts. The sun was blasting in my eyes. I could feel the heat, and I can still feel some heat. The sun rather, down here in Texas is pretty strong, so you can still feel some heat coming through, but believe me, it is much less than without having that tint done. So anyway, I just wanted to get on here this morning, kind of run through what I did as far as window tint goes. I think it's a must-have for the truck. I think it greatly improves the look of the truck, and it's functional as well. Going to protect your eyes a little bit, going to keep the heat down inside, and also keep things from fading. There might even be a little security issue there, because if people are going to look inside the truck, they're going to have to walk right up to it, do one of these on the window, and it kind of makes them a little more conspicuous than just kind of walking by and glancing. So a little bit of a security benefit there too. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. 20% on mine. What do you have on yours? And do you ever worry about getting pulled over for tint? I never have. Leave a comment. I'd be curious. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Rob Motive, all about my 2020 Toyota Tacoma, sitting right up there in the garage. And Rob Motive JT, all about my 2020 Jeep Gladiator. Check them out, and if you're interested, why not subscribe? Don't forget to check that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.